Let's make Dollar Tree Christmas decor today with items I bet you've never thought of before. Let's get started. So we're starting out with a muffin tin, which is one of the items you can find all the time at the Dollar Tree, and I'm using some sandpaper that is also in the automotive section of Dollar Tree, and then I'm just going to sand the whole muffin tin. Now I'm using my chippy brush and I'm using a variety of paint on this. I'm going to use steel, mineral, and truffle, and they're all by Waverly chalk paints. This would work really a lot better with one of those circular sponge brushes you can find in the crafter square. I didn't have one of those. I did pick one up today though, because this would have totally worked a lot better. But anyway, if you don't have one, a paintbrush will work just fine, because you're going to see it turns out so adorable. So once we get all the paint on, I'm using just a regular old wet wipe, and I'm wiping down the majority of our truffle paint. And then I'm going to use a paper towel and kind of wipe off the excess as well. So if you can't tell, we're trying to make this look antiqued and rusted. And to do that technique today, I am attempting to do the cinnamon technique. So I've never done that before, and I thought I'd try it out with you guys. So once I get all that paint off, I'm going to go back one more time with some mineral paint. This is why I think one of those circular sponge brushes would work a lot better, because I think you would get a much better blend. But I'm totally happy with the way that it turned out. So but I did, like I said, pick up one of those circular brushes. So I'm just making sure I get some mineral paint in all of the areas, and so now we're ready to use our cinnamon. So I debated, I was like, do I use the wide mouth area? Do I use the little holes? I eventually just decided to go with the whole section, and I just basically pour cinnamon all over, and I just do it all over the muffin cups and around the muffin cups. I don't do the back of this. I only do this technique on the front. So once I get the cinnamon in the desired area that I want it to be, it's looking fabulous. I'm just going to shake off the excess cinnamon, and what I read online, you could stop here if you wanted to. A lot of people said the cinnamon never came off. I decided to add a little bit extra, so I went outside, used a clear coat, sprayed it, let it dry, and this was the final look. I think it looks amazing. I would definitely recommend using the clear coat on it, because it sets it and it darkens the cinnamon, and so it gives it definitely a more rusted look. So A+ for this technique, and I totally plan to use it again. So a lot of times in my comments I get things like, this was a super simple craft, or these were so easy. And I didn't know if you guys knew this about me, but I am actually a full-time mom, a full-time wife, and a full-time teacher. I teach 7th grade science, and it is almost time for me to go back to school. And so a lot of my time is taken up doing, obviously, teaching throughout the entire day. And then I have other responsibilities at night, and then by that time there's only a little bit of time left for me to have some me time or to do some crafting. And so I just want to show you guys that, you know, things can be simple, but that doesn't mean that they don't have to be beautiful or high-end looking. You can create a home full of beautiful things that are super simple and that give you joy, which is what I do. So here we are. We've painted all the muffin tins with our white paint, and now we're just using some ink by Waverly to create our face. So I'm using the bottom of the paintbrush, and I'm using that to create eyes and the mouth. You could also use an embossing tool here. They sell them in the Crafter Square section of Dollar Tree. And they tend to have like a metal part on the end with a little ball. Those work really great if you're going to create eyes or polka dots. I like to use those for polka dots as well. But this is what I had on hand right now, so I just decided to use the bottom of the paintbrush. So I'm going to do each of the muffin tins with my eyes and mouth, and then I'm going to go back in with some orange chalk paint. And I'm going to paint on my nose. And so I'm just using a super thin brush here. I think these brushes came from either the Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby, or they might have came from Walmart. I think they might have been in a pack of like several paintbrushes from Walmart. But once I get all the faces painted on, I am ready to do our final steps. So just a note here. I am using some greenery that I had in my stash, and when I get it glued on here with the bow, I feel like it's a slightly too big. It totally gives me the farmhouse rustic feel, and if you've been with me for a while, you know I love rustic everything. So I love it. I mean, I'm totally in love with how this turned out. Just a note to self, I would probably make this top part a tiny bit smaller, just so it doesn't cover up so much of my snowman. But I am using a pre-made bow from the Dollar General, and this is a red and white buffalo check. If you missed my last video, I'll post it right here up above, and it was a video where I created a swag using a giant version of this same bow. I absolutely love Dollar General's Christmas area. I get a lot of my supplies from there. Their ribbon is amazing. You get more on the roll, and it's just as much as a Dollar Tree, and a lot of times they have like so many more cute patterns. Once I get these pine cones glued onto the side of our greenery, then this project is complete.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside.
Let's be honest. Did you go to the Dollar Tree, see Muffin Tins, and think, I think I can make Christmas decor out of that? I don't think so. If you're enjoying the video, go down, hit that like button so that lots more people can see my video, and let's get back into it. So today's video is part of the Holly Jolly Christmas DIY collab. It is hosted by Krafty Leeny and DIY with Nadia. I will have both of their channels linked down in my description box so you can check them out when you are finished with this video. This is also a playlist which will be in the description box as well. And each of these lovely ladies has created some Christmas DIYs to share with you for Christmas in July. So when you're finished watching my video, don't forget to go down and click the playlist and check it out. So for this project, we're going to be using a sink strainer, and I'm going to go outside and give it a couple coats of paint with my Rust-Oleum satin. And I'll list that down in the description box. But once I have it all painted, I do glue that big stopper down in the back. I just put some glue in the hole so it stops moving around. And then I'm going to take some Crimson Waverly chalk paint and I'm going to paint it with the red chalk paint. So we're actually trying to make a Rudolph out of this, and we're going for a rustic Rudolph. So once we get that painted, we're just taking some burlap, and I just cut it into two little strips, and I glued one to the side of the other one to give it kind of an antler feel. This is a little bit abstract. I won't lie. As I was like making this, I was thinking, okay, where's this going? But I promise the end result is super cute. And once I got it on my tree, I was like, oh man, I really like this. Like, I would make a lot of these. So don't give up on me yet. Just keep watching. So I went ahead and put glue like down the strip of it, even though I'm not gluing it to anything, just to give it a little bit more stability. Because when I glued it to the back, it was a little wonky. But once I got some glue on it, it was working really good. So I'm just going to take that and glue it onto the other side, just like on the side that was already glued on. And I just put a good amount of glue there, and I get it obviously stuck on my finger. So once I get it just in there, I put a good amount and I let it dry. So after I got that done, I thought, okay, what can we add to this? It needs a little something. So this ribbon is also from Dollar General. I just gave it a quick crisscross bow and glued it into the middle. I love to make these bows. They're super easy, super simple, and I think they add a lot of character. So once I get that glued, I'm going to glue my bell into the middle, and we're obviously having a girl reindeer here. So we're gonna glue just this ribbon to the bottom underneath his nose. And once I have that on, I thought, okay, now we need a hanger. So I'm just using some twine. They came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna glue that to the top, and then this project is complete.
Da, 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 making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep.
So we're going to start off this project using some salt and pepper shakers, and I know what you're thinking, those are not anything new. There's a lot of crafts with salt and pepper shakers, and you're totally right, but that is not the item. That is kind of the odd item out here. The odd item is the sink strainer catcher thing that you put in your sink, and we're going to use that for the hat of our snowman. So we're going to go outside and we're going to paint our jars with some white Rust-Oleum and our strainer with some black Rust-Oleum. So once I have them all painted, I'm ready to paint on my face. This would be a great area to use a Cricut as well. You could put vinyl down with a snowman face here. I have a Cricut. It's just a really old one, and I don't pull it out very often because, to be totally honest with you guys, I never learned how to use it, and it isn't the kind that can like go to the online program. It's the one that has the cartridges, and so anyway, it sits in my garage, and I really wish I would learn how to use it, but I just hardly ever use it because it's an ordeal for me. So anyway, that would be a great option too. You could use stickers here as well if you wanted to, but I'm using some ink by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint on a little face here. I'm just doing little circles. It was a little bit hard to paint in the grooves here, so some of my circles could have been a little bit better, but I'm happy with the way that it looked out because, you know, I love rustic. So anyway, once I get that on there, I'm going to use that same orange paint from earlier, and I'm just going to paint on my little nose. So, you know, snowmen are really fun because they have a lot of character, and so you know what, if your face doesn't look totally perfect, it's okay, because a snowman's face isn't going to look perfect. If you've ever made a snowman, you know this to be true. Alright, so once we have all our face on there, we're ready to glue on our hat. So what I learned here is once I spray painted this hat, there are all these little tiny grooves in the strainer catcher thing, and so a lot of the I guess I wouldn't say a lot, but there was some paint, like debris or whatever, that came through there. So definitely shake it off. You can see on my brown paper there that there's a whole bunch of black paint there. So I'm just going to use some hot glue, and I'm going to attach it to the top. So it gives us kind of a western look for our snowman, so I decided to go with some burlap. And if you didn't know, I live in the Southwest. I live in New Mexico, and sometimes people are like, how come it's a lot greener where you live? Well, I live up more towards Colorado. If you are down in the, I guess, southern part of our state, it's a lot more brown. But once I have my burlap, I'm just going to tie it off, just a plain old knot, over to one side. Then I'm going to use my hot glue and some more burlap, and I fold this piece kind of in half, and then I wrap it around the hat. So it's giving it like a trim, and I'm going to tie the trim onto the other side. So I have the trim of the hat facing one way, and our scarf, I guess you will, facing the other way. I do dovetail the ends. Once I get this glued on, then this project is complete.
Making our Christmas memories.
You're still here. I'm so glad you are. If you enjoyed the video and you like the projects, go down and hit that like button. It really helps my video get seen by other people. And don't forget to go down into my description box and hit that playlist so you can check out everyone's videos today in the Christmas in July collab. And don't forget to hit Nadia and Leeny's channels as well. And as always, wherever you are in your journey is a perfect place to start. And I will see you in the next video.
I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday.